The Dallas Cowboys have had one of the sneakier good offseasons this year. They've made 3 major moves. They've completely changed my opinion of what they're capable of going into next season. Next season, I had them personally. I really thought they'd take a fairly large step back. I thought they're going to have a down year, and they very could potentially have a step back season next season. It really just depends on what offensive coordinator Broughton Schottenheimer is capable of. But the Dallas Cowboys have addressed 3 major issues this offseason, and I'm pretty impressed with all of them. Number 1, they cut Ezekiel Elliott and they moved Tony Pollard into the starting role at running back. So this move hurts because of who Zeke used to be, but he had to go. It pains me to say it, but Ezekiel Elliott just isn't the player he used to be. And all the things he didn't and doesn't have, backup Tony Pollard does have those things. Tony Pollard is just so clearly the better player. The dude is just explosive, absolutely jumps off the screen every time you watch him. Among running backs with 1,000 yards, Tony Pollard had the second highest yards per carry. I didn't watch a ton of Dallas games last season, but when I did, it was Tony Pollard jumping off the screen. Getting him more touches should improve the Dallas offense, and getting Zeke's contract off the books is obviously beneficial for long-term cap space. It sucks because of what Zeke was, but he's had to go. Number 2, the Cowboys traded for a slightly past his prime Stephon Gilmore. And I say slightly because he was still PFF's number 9 corner last season. It goes without saying that Trevon Diggs is Trevon Diggs, and obviously his high risk, high reward style paired up with one of the better lockdown corners in the NFL. This just looks and sounds like a good cornerback pairing. This move makes even more sense when you consider that the Cowboys are in a division with the Eagles. We have 2 rock star wideouts in A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And it makes even more sense when you consider that Dallas just had a fairly weak secondary last season. And then the NFL is a weapons league. It just makes sense. The entire move was just shrewd. They didn't give up a lot to get him, and it was just securing an area of weakness for the Cowboys. And number 3, they traded for wide receiver Brandin Cooks. So this move also makes a ton of sense for them. One of my complaints for the Dallas Cowboys last season was they just didn't have enough wide receiver weapons. It felt like it was CeeDee Lamb and nobody else at wideout. What I question with this Brandin Cooks deal is that obviously Brandin Cooks is a deep threat, and I personally don't think of Dak Prescott as kind of a deep ball guy. Now, obviously, he's no longer the dink and Dak player that he was early in his career, but I also don't think of Dak Prescott as a guy to just let it rip either. So I'm not sure what the fit is, but the hope is obviously that Brandin Cooks will inject some of that deep ball type of offense into their scheme. So we'll hope. I'm hopeful that it will work out. This move also, perhaps just as importantly, allows Michael Gallup to slide into the wide receiver 3 role, which he seems more suited for. I mean, he's coming off of an ACL injury, and this allows him kind of not have to be depended on, but really just allows him to make his one ridiculous play/catch per game, which really seems to be Michael Gallup's thing. The dude disappears all game, does something incredible, and then just goes back to disappearing. So it was a sneaky good offseason for Dallas. Just a couple moves, couple impact moves. I still think now, I thought that they were going to be kind of a step back candidate. I still think they're just a mid-tier playoff team, but they definitely shored up some of their weaknesses.